Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. I am so happy to be here and also simultaneously checking in on the little webpage stuff, making sure everybody that wants to get in here can get in here to hear this lovely talk. All right. So, if you are watching live, I would love to see you and see your little name pop up there. It always feels so good to have a shared energy space and uniting together and all of that. If you are watching this on replay, I still love to know that. So please go ahead and drop that comment in as well that you're just watching it on replay. That actually helps me out a great deal. Thank you so much either way. Okay. So as always, I do have my notes that I'm going to refer to. It kind of just helps keep me on track. But you will also find that I free flow a lot and I kind of can get lost on tangents. So that's where the notes come in handy. Okay. So I'm also trying something new with how I can check my notes. So fingers crossed that works well today. I'm just going to give it another minute here, or a couple seconds anyway, for people to check in. So if you are watching, again, please drop me a little comment and say hi. I love to hear that. All right. So today we are talking about releasing mindset blocks from moving from insurance clients to private pay. I am speaking on this because not only have I done this and been there, I know there's a lot of people that have come into the group recently that are in the midst of this or trying to figure this out, and it totally makes sense that we have mindset stuff that comes up whenever we're making a big change, right? And so that's why I'm going to talk about it today. So I posted a poll in the group and asked which aspects of this mindset stuff that people needed to hear about the most. There was basically two big winners. So rather than split it up, I'm like, let's just see if I can cover both of those bigger topics within that. Let's see if I can cover them both today, okay? Bear with me. So the first part is, actually before I get into the first part, I want you to do a little experiment with me, okay? So if you were to check in with your body, so notice I often close my eyes. A lot of times I have a hand on my heart, sometimes also a hand on my stomach. If you were to check in with your body around the idea of letting go of insurance clients, or at least the insurance panels, and moving to a private pay practice, notice what comes up in your body and in your emotions at the thought of this. So just notice any sensations, any little blips of emotion. It can also be like thoughts that pop in your head, but our bodies are really good radars for where we are vibrating at. Vibrating is like an energy term. So check in now, and then we're going to do a little check in later, and we're just going to see if there's anything different. So I'm going to periodically be clicking back and forth just to watch the group and my notes, just FYI. All right, so now the very first aspect that we're going to talk about with this is how to stand out from other therapists that are out there also trying to get private pay clients, right? It seems like there is a great shift that's going on where a lot of people are doing this. And understandably, that stirs up fear that how am I going to get noticed above all the other people, right? So there's absolutely something to things like SEO and your online profiles and your website and things like that, absolutely. That's not so much the stuff I'm going to cover today because that's not really my area of expertise, but I will validate that those are very real things. So I'm going to talk about this kind of from two perspectives. One is, I don't know, kind of the logical perspective, and then because many of you maybe know by now that I'm all about the energy stuff, right? So I'm going to incorporate aspects of that in this as well. So starting with sort of the logical parts, when you want to stand out from all the other therapists out there, you're probably hearing this a lot, but you want to get really specific about your niche. So it can be your niche, and it can also be what makes you as a therapist and your practice different than everybody else. Let me talk about the niche part first. So your niche is like, who are your ideal clients? Who do you love to work with? That super excites you. You get excited when these kinds of people are on your schedule. You feel informed. You feel inspired to work with these people. So when you are clear on that, you want to make sure that in all of your online presence, so if you're on Psychology Today or your website or any of those things, that you are speaking directly to who they are. And what I mean by that is, don't just say like, I help people with anxiety or I help people that have been through trauma. You want to paint a picture of like, what does that look like for them in their daily life, right? So that when your prospective client reads that, they immediately go like, oh my goodness, this person gets me. They get what my day-to-day life is like. I want to work with them. So making sure that all of your online presence stuff is speaking to them, to their heart, and not so much in therapist lingo, right? They don't care about that. They want to know if you get them. And so, again, the second part of that is, what do you specifically do or your practice does that makes you different than other people, right? And so you can include things like different trainings that you've done, or if you're EMDR certified or ACT or DBT or whatever. So absolutely you can include that because some people are specifically looking for that. But also, let's go beyond that. What makes you as a person different? How do you interact with them that might be different than other people? Do you like to talk about their dreams that they have at night? Do you incorporate your dog into treatment? Whatever. So for me, what I have in all of my online stuff is that I often weave in like energy stuff and kind of spirituality stuff, not religious stuff, but spirituality stuff. And I use these as tools to help people work on their attachment issue stuff, right? And I also swear a lot. Both of those things are written in my Psychology Today and on my website and things like that, because those types of things are going to speak to certain people, right? It's not going to speak to everybody. There might be some people out there that don't really like swearing, right? That's okay. That is absolutely okay. But some people are going to feel more comfortable knowing that I will swear, you will swear, right? It gives them a sense of ease. It gives them a sense of comfort. So I include it in there, right? So making sure that you have these non-clinical ways that you practice that are different than everybody else, okay? Really quickly, next thing, your photos that you have, not only like your headshot, but also if you have a website, and even on Psychology Today now, they let you put in like multiple photos. Make them things that your ideal clients are going to relate to, that's going to speak to them, right? Some people prefer a little bit more formal looking headshots, and some people are very casual, right? Be clear on what type of message you want to convey with that, right? Some people want the more professional look because they want people to know like, hey, I'm taking this seriously. And some people are more like, nope, I want to be casual and let people again know that I'm a real person. And so here's, me and my dog or whatever. So just be mindful of what message you want to convey with any of the photos that are on your public profiles. Kind of related to that. This is a little bit more so in like if you happen to have a website. Psychology Today, of course, like limits how much you're able to write into things, but like on your website or some other places, you can be a little more wordy. My personal opinion is that in most cases, people don't care that much what your hobbies are and if you like your dog or not. Okay, even though I know I was just talking about having a picture with a dog. Those kinds of things are probably not going to be what makes them choose you, right? If you like kayaking on the weekends, that's probably not the thing that's going to draw them to you. What they want to know is, do you understand where I've been, right? And so to your comfort level, being able to share with them, here's where I've been, here's what I've learned, and here's how I now help other people, right? That conveys to them, you get me. You understand part of my struggle. You're not going to sit across from me and speak like you have all the answers when you've not had all the experience. And I totally get, like, we've not experienced everything that any one of our clients has ever gone through. Of course not. But again, they want to know that we are real, that we understand what it feels like, and that we have found a way out. I absolutely remember when I was online and found my therapist. It was the first time in looking at somebody's website on the About Me page of her website. And she had written on there, I grew up in a home full of addiction and it led me to this and it led me to this. And now here's what I do. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my person, right? Because there was realness that was right there and I immediately gravitated to that, right? So again, within your own comfort levels of how much you want to share. And you don't necessarily share everything, but enough that they get it. Okay. So now a little bit more into the energy parts, right? So energetically, here's where I'm coming from. The energy that we put out into the world is what we attract back to us like a magnet, right? And so because of that, this is where we want to make sure that, first of all, we have identified who do we really, really like working with, but also allowing ourselves to feel excited about working with those types of clients, right? So energetically, if I am excited about I really like working with this kind of population, this is my jam, this is what I really like, energetically, that is what is going out into the universe, and that is then what I'm attracting back to me, right? So when we identify our niche and we speak to that, it is not only a marketing thing, again, so that the client can know that we get them, it is also an energetic thing, right? So I invite you to allow yourself to become excited and energized by that so that energetically you're going to draw back to the clients that you really like. So I do have another training on this. It is located still within the group. So if you haven't seen that already, it's called something like how to energetically attract your ideal client, I think. So go ahead and find that one if you haven't watched that one yet. All right. So the second part that I had included in the poll, so still under the headline of shifting from insurance panels to private pay, the other thing that came up a lot is having guilt for clients that might not be able to follow you when you do private pay, right? This is a big deal, guys. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely can empathize with this, right? We got into this field for a reason. We got into this field because we wanted to help other people. We develop meaningful connections with our clients, right? A lot of times We are the first safe person that our clients have ever felt. Sometimes they are confiding things in us that they've never said to another human being. And the thought of us leaving them behind stirs up something in us, and it of course stirs up something in them, right? These connections are real and they are meaningful. However, I'm about to hit you with some tough love, so just brace yourself a little bit. We are not the only one that can help them, even if that's what they're telling us. Okay? These connections are real. We might have been having, or we might be experiencing with them a great sense of connection, and we are the ones that they have confided in, all of that stuff. We are not the only person on the face of the earth that can help them. They might genuinely believe that, again, because maybe they've never experienced that before. We, as the professional, need to have a different vantage point than where they are at. We have to know that we are not the only person that can help them, right? And so we have to release that pressure. Imagine the pressure of like, I am the only one. That is a lot of pressure, my friends, right? That's not fair. It's not fair to us, and it's not fair to them to think they have to only put all of their eggs in this one person's basket, right? So I know that can feel a little bit tough lovey, but I say it with love. Here's the next point with that. People can oftentimes make adjustments when they need to. So when I made the switch from insurance panels to private pay, I absolutely had some people that absolutely initially had a panic response of like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can follow you. That's okay. They are allowed to have a panic response. But the truth is, some people, when the shit hits the fan, will figure out a way. They will figure out a way. It might mean that they're not with me or with you every single week like they were before. That's understandable. But they oftentimes can find a way if the work itself is meaningful and if they can truly feel the value of it, right? This isn't true for everybody. Some people have genuine financial concerns, but with some people, you just have to know if this work is what they really need, they will figure out a way. Okay? Here's another really big point with this. When you are operating from a private pay standpoint and not accepting insurance, you are allowed to offer pro bono spots. You are allowed to have a scholarship program or a reduced fee for some clients. So this is just a thing to think about for yourself. You might not do this with every client that is balking at being able to follow you, but you might choose to offer some people a scholarship or a pro bono spot, right? Or a reduced fee, maybe for a certain amount of time, 6 months or something like that, right? You have the freedom to choose that. That freedom is huge, my friends. You get to figure out what makes sense for you and what makes sense for your clients. This is just a little additional thought within that. If you do decide to offer a pro bono spot or a scholarship spot or a reduced fee, again, you can think about doing it for a certain amount of time only so that they don't necessarily take advantage of the time, right? Or take advantage or not value the time that you are working together, right? You would be surprised when there is a time limit, people can crank shit out. They can amp up the amount of effort that they're putting in and work harder than they've ever done before if they know there's a time limit. Okay? Just a thought out there. Okay, so when I moved from insurance panels to private pay, I sent all of my clients a very intentional email explaining why I was making the decision that I was making. I validated how this might stir things up for them and that they might have different feelings and reactions and financial impact and all of that, right? So I was very intentional with that, sent it out to them, and then the next time we met, we processed it, right? In even the email, I said, you might choose to stay with me. You might choose to take a break from treatment if you're kind of at the more of a maintenance space right now, or you might decide to meet with another therapist. And I had given them 3 months time for us to work on this, right? We want to give them time because we have to acknowledge this is a financial switch for them. And also it is probably going to stir up emotional stuff, right? Because so many of our clients come to us with attachment issues, and now we're switching up an attachment relationship, right? So all of that said, with some of my clients that decided that they were going to still need therapy, but it couldn't be with me for financial reasons, we're going to work on transferring them to another therapist. I offered to help them. Let's maybe weed through some people together and let's get clear on what you're looking for, what best works with you, right? So in all of that though, here's what I want to say. Those conversations that I had with the clients that were going to be transferring to another therapist brought me a lot of clarity about the work I was already doing that I didn't really know that I needed, but here it was. And it also brought on very useful conversation with my clients, right? It brought up a little bit of clarity around perhaps us having different ideas about how long is treatment supposed to be, right? Some people think I'm going to be in therapy with you forever, right? And that might not be where I'm at. And that might not be what I think is best for them, right? So it brings that out in the conversation. This was another big one. It brought out conversation of how much effort they are making on working on their stuff in between sessions, right? So on the one hand, they are very validly saying this ending of this relationship is going to be really hard. I've done a lot of work here. True enough. It brought out conversation about what amount of effort are they putting in between sessions, right? So again, with the idea of when we when we have something that's first and foremost in our brain, we put more effort in and we can crank shit out. And some people get caught in kind of coasting mode, right? So it brought this up in conversation, and I don't know, it's one of those things I thought I was pretty well tuned into that, but there was something about making this change that stirred it up in a whole different way. The other thing that it stirred up in a whole different way that I thought I was pretty well attuned to, but the dynamic just shifted when we started having these conversations, was is there anything that we have kind of been dancing around a little bit or not fully addressing, kind of being a little bit, overly cautious, right? But again, when there is a time limit, so in my case, it was 3 months that I noticed that I gave them, it gave us this little shot of adrenaline of all right, what shit needs to get put on the table? What do we need to on purpose focus on? What do we need to be aware of in a whole new way? It invigorated a lot of things. So just a thing to think about there. This was the other beautiful part too, guys. Again, many of our clients are coming to us with very, very real attachment wounds from their childhood and even in their present day. And we might be the first person that they've had a healthy attachment with, right? So this is understandably like a very emotional decision and a very hard one that stirs up a lot of emotional stuff. This is also an opportunity, maybe for the first time in their life, to have a healthy detachment, a healthy separation, where both people are sharing their thoughts and their feelings and their sincere wishes and things like that. And it's upfront and it's honest and it's authentic. And it might be the first time that they've ever had that in their whole life. And it doesn't mean that they don't still have emotions about it, but it means they then get to go forward in their life going like, that one time somebody treated me with kindness and respect, even if we couldn't be together, right? So know that while this is going to be an emotional stir-up, it can be a beautiful part of their story, right? So just allow yourself the possibility that this, while it's going to be a big change, could actually be a good thing for them, okay? I had one other point, but I think I'm going to save it for a whole other training because that feels right. So I want you now again to check in with your body. So I've shared some stuff about how to stand out. I've shared some stuff about how do we shift our thinking a little bit with the guilt about leaving behind some clients that are near and dear to us. Check in with your body again. Notice any sensations in your body, any emotions, where your thinking is at, right? And just notice, like, did this discussion today bring you more ease? Did it bring you more stress, right? I don't want to say that this is like a magical solution and all of it's gone. I hope that it brought you a sense of ease. If it did not, though, if you notice when you check back in that like, oh, I still have some unease, I still have some stress, it's possible that what we're looking at is a need to look a little bit deeper, right? You might have some deeper beliefs that are going on that you picked up somewhere in your life about being responsible for others. And you might want to do a little digging as to like, where did that come from? What do I need to do to unearth that? It's actually a large component of my self-doubt recovery program, right? Is where we're looking at our attachment wound stuff, which this could be if you're still experiencing the unease of like, I'm not allowed to leave other people, I'm not allowed to let them down. If that's still going on, again, maybe some digging down deeper into where that stuff comes from. Again, the first component of my self-doubt recovery program. And then we learn how to start seeing that stuff differently. We start learning how to shift the energy around it a little bit differently than today. And how do we incorporate some cool energy stuff to help us let go of those beliefs. So I hope this is helpful to you. If you're interested in learning more about the self-doubt recovery program, or if you are noticing like, oh, I still have this unease even after listening to this, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to DM me and you can learn more about my program. I hope this is helpful to you guys. I will be in touch with you soon. Peace out, guys.